Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 193. 3 brilliant ideas for integrating the arts to regulate the elementary classroom. Today, it's just me again, but it's not just me. It's me, but it's also a very special guest who is coming on to talk about such an important topic. It's social and emotional learning. It's integrating the arts. It's so necessary, my friend. You are going to love it. I have been trying to keep it a little bit more positive, and I'm waiting for Lee to come back. But for now, I wanted to share some really special people that have reached out to me, and one of them is Elizabeth Peterson. She is from the Inspired Classroom. She is a arts integration specialist with a degree in education, music, arts, leadership, and learning. This is her 4th year of teaching. And it's her 15th year of hosting workshops, retreats, and online courses in arts integration and social and emotional learning. She is amazing. And this is such a fun conversation. I felt like I met a kindred spirit for sure. It is so good. Hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Debery.
Hey, so I am back, One Tired Teacher, to talk about integrating the arts and what this can do and how this can regulate your classroom. It is so important. And I just have so much fun having this conversation with Elizabeth. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this podcast is being supported and made available to you thanks to my course, Mastering Makerspace. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Mastering Makerspace. It is a course that takes you step by step through creating, implementing, and putting together a makerspace. Now, don't worry. A makerspace does not have to be a large space in your classroom. In fact, you don't even need space. I know that's crazy, isn't it? It's more of a mindset. And that is the best part. That's why it's so exciting. And I love that we get kids thinking and we really focus in on those 4 C's of communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. And Mastering Makerspace is a course that guides you through with videos, trainings. We talk about what Makerspace is. We talk about the value of play. We talk about standards integration, how to do this, how to get materials without breaking the bank, and all the good stuff and things that we need to help us create a makerspace. This is perfect for teachers that want to integrate makerspace in their classroom and want to know how to do it so that they are also covering standards. It's also really great for media specialists who are super excited about makerspace and want to incorporate that in their media center. And if you're a makerspace teacher or STEM teacher, I think it's for you as well. It is so much fun. I hope that you will give it a shot and check it out. I will link to it in the show notes. In the meantime, you can find it at trinadeberyteachingandlearning.com/makerspace. Now let's get on with the show. So I am excited to have Elizabeth Peterson here today to talk to us all about using arts to regulate the classroom. So this is a really important topic. And welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Trina. I'm really excited to be here with you and talk to you about basically my favorite topic on the face of the planet right now.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's so necessary. I feel like we have kids, unfortunately, kicking and screaming into school, and that breaks my heart and hurts my teacher heart in such a way. And I really firmly believe that if we are integrating arts and we are doing things that make kids feel like they're playing and having fun and enjoying learning, we're going to see a totally different student. So I am thrilled thrilled that you were here. Now you are from the Inspired Classroom. That's your business. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah. I have had the Inspired Classroom for, oh my gosh, I think, it started in its little infancy stage about 16 years ago, actually.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's so exciting. So tell us, before we jump into this conversation, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I'm currently still I'm still teaching. I'm going into my 24th year of teaching, and
Wow.
I'm currently a third grade teacher. I had a little stint there as a music teacher, a middle school music teacher for about 7 years. And, all throughout my teaching, the arts have played such a huge role in what I do. So
Mhm.
even it started really when I was student teaching, and I student taught in a fifth grade classroom, and I had the best cooperating teachers, mentor teachers who let me really explore how to integrate the arts. Then it was specifically music
Yes.
into some of the lessons that I was creating in writing and in math. And they just kind of let me explore that a little bit. And it really blossomed. It blossomed into, first and foremost, a book about how to integrate listening experiences into the classroom.
Uh-huh.
And then I was able to go and get my master's degree in arts and learning, and then my CAGs in arts leadership and learning. And so I was slowly able to just continue to bring in visual art and drama and storytelling and dance into the classroom. And what I saw was just students thriving in the
Yeah.
content, and then they were able to really deepen their understanding of the content through the arts. And then, of course, over the last few years, we've
Mhm.
seen students just kind of changing in front of
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
Our classrooms are so different than they were 10 years ago, um, because our students are coming to us with so many more social and emotional needs.
Yes. Yes.
And so, what I have been able to do over the last few years is utilize my experience and expertise in arts integration and really couple it with the growing need of social emotional skills in the
Mm.
classroom. And I've built something called SEAL, which allows us teachers
Mhm.
to fully utilize fully the power that the arts have to help students build their social emotional needs in the classroom without really piling more and more on top, but just have that engagement and utilize different strategies to just help our students get into the classroom and thrive in the classroom.
Yeah,
So
I love that. I love that. It's so, no, I do. It's
thank
so
you.
important. It is, it is like a night and day difference when we
Mm.
utilize these kinds of strategies and when we do
Mhm.
things that are really focused on the social and emotional well-being of students. Because when we don't, like we end up with massive behavior problems. We end up with reluctant learners. We end up with students struggling to learn concepts. I know even my own kids, my son has dyslexia. My daughter it probably does too, but just a it's milder for her. But we
Mhm.
ended up sending her to an arts middle school and high school
Awesome.
because she thrived with the arts and
That's
dance and
awesome.
music and performing. And it was so, and I remember she did so well, like in fourth grade was when she like took off as a math student, which was so weird because that was not her strength, but it was because her teacher did songs, like created songs for math concepts. And she is 22 now, my daughter, and she will still sing those songs from fourth grade.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So it makes such a huge difference. All right. So
It
you talked
does.
about SEAL. Like what does that tell my listeners that have no idea what that would mean? What does that mean for them?
Yeah, so SEAL stands for Social Emotional Artistic Learning, and it takes the best of what arts integration is and couples it with
Mm.
all the social emotional competencies that we are learning about, right, as
Mhm.
teachers. And it utilizes them in a, it brings it together in a framework for teachers so that teachers can really not just bring in artistic experiences into their classroom, but kind of change a little bit of how they think about bringing these experiences to their students.
Yes.
So the framework is it's in 3 phases. I call them waves. Got an ocean theme going because why not? As teachers, we love our themes. So 3 waves. The first wave, we look at SEAL teacher mindset. So looking at, how do you approach your day? How do you approach your students? How do you create that safe learning environment for your students that they so desperately need and deserve? And also, how do you care for yourself in creative ways? And so there's a huge component of teacher self-care in there. And we talk a lot about it in terms of mindset, because I think teachers really need to come at their job now in a different way that's going to be beneficial for their students, obviously, but also for themselves if we're going to survive in this profession.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, because it's very easy to become disgruntled and frustrated because you feel like you're existing in almost an oppressive situation. It feels that way for teachers. Yeah. And it's so hard not to accidentally drag that into your classroom with you and have your students experience the same kinds of horrible things that you're experiencing, and not purposefully, but when you're in that scarcity mentality day after day and you're struggling and you're not allowed to make choices and decisions and all those things that we know are so good for all of us, we end up doing that, not purposely, but to our children. So I think that our mindset, and I'm speaking of myself, like I'm not speaking of criticizing other teachers. I'm speaking of like towards the end of being in the classroom for me, I was so upset and frustrated by what was happening and what I felt like I was being forced to do, that I have this student, and I always tell this story. I had this student in my last year, like in the second grade classroom, who used to come up to me and pat me on the back. And I was like, what is he doing? But I would feel like this release. And I'm like, he can see my soul. He knows, that I am hurting. I felt like I was doing such a good job of putting up a brave face. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, he sees it. He knows. And it was, and I think, wow,
that's an eye opener.
It really is, isn't it? And honestly, this was not a student that, tradition, like if you were looking at like success from a school's aspect, which I don't, I think success looks different for everyone. And I don't think it means you have the best grades and you are, top of your class. But if we were going to look at it like that, he wasn't. So he was more of a student that struggled and had a hard time, but he was extremely empathetic and very aware of what was going on with people's emotions. And I think that emotional intelligence is undervalued so much. And and I think back and I'm like, man, that kid had it. And I like, he helped me and like through that year. I mean, it was constant patting. So he helped me. And I'm like, oh, I hope that he didn't feel the heaviness that I was carrying around. And that I, you want to protect him from that. So you're right. So the first thing is really having that mindset for our students, and how I love that. Like, how am I going to approach my day? That would have just that one question alone would have made a huge difference for me in the classroom. Actually, in any school setting that I have been in, that would be maybe now in life, like approach this day is a really important. All right. So that's,
and I got to tell you, so many teachers that will go through one of my SEAL courses, that alone just makes such a huge difference. Just going through that first wave and understanding their place and their role in the classroom and how they can make those connections with the students. And that's huge.
Yeah. Connections matter so much. I recently put out an email to my TDTL listies, and I was talking about, if I could wave a magic wand for you, what could I do? And I had like a lot of people write me back. I actually spent the whole weekend responding to all these all these people. And
I
it was
bet.
so eye-opening. But one of the things that somebody said was, how do I handle behavior problems? How do I handle as a special area teacher, also in the classroom? Because it's, a variety of elementary teachers. And I'm like, and you hear it all the time, make connections, and I'm like, no, it's not just make connections. It is so vital to
Yeah.
the relationship. When students know that you love them and care about them, they will respond in a different way. Even if there's things that some kids can't help, they can't help some of these behaviors. And that's another thing. Like, we need to find out why they're occurring, like what's the root of this, so that we can address those and also have some grace and understanding. But those connections, those are so important. And that does come down to mindset as well. If we're not willing to let them in and be vulnerable, then we expect them to do that for us. It's an important thing. Okay. So that's the first wave.
And then the second wave is all about the SEAL teacher methods. And so that's how you bring in these SEAL strategies into your classroom.
Okay.
And there are embedded strategies. There are that are just become part of your routine, which is why I say with confidence that you can do this without having it be extra. It just becomes the way that you truly integrate and embed strategies into your classroom, so that your students are able to be present and be able to learn.
Yeah.
And then
can you give an example of one of those embedded strategies?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So one of them is, I'll give you one of the favorites, is sound tracking. And so what that is, and many teachers play around with this, I'm sure. Sound tracking, which is playing music throughout the school day, throughout your class time.
Yeah.
That is really strategically chosen to fit whatever the mood or the ambiance of your classroom that you need. So, the music that you choose as you're greeting your students as they come in will be different than the music or the sound that you choose while you are instructing, like actually giving instructions, having students do their work time. And it just really encapsulates the classroom and really encapsulates the mood that you need, so that your students feel calm and focused when they need to feel calm and focused. And I got to tell you, I work in an open concept school. It's modified. So there are some like fake walls, but I don't have 4 solid walls in my classroom. And utilizing this strategy of sound tracking really helps to kind of create this nice bubble in our classroom that kind of just shields us from all the noise that's happening in the hallway, which is, like right there for all of us. And at the same time, it really doesn't distract the other classrooms, which is pretty profound when you consider that I'm working in this
open. Absolutely.
setting.
No, absolutely. Because that would probably be the first question that someone asks. Like, what if I'm in that situation? I love that. And the thing that, and you're so right, because I can remember days. Well, I always greeted my students at the door, at the door, no, not the store, but at the door. And there were years that I'm like, this feels like, why does it feel chaotic? And so I started playing classical music as they were coming in. Night and day. It was a totally different vibe. Yeah, it really was. And then one of my favorite, and I actually have a student that wrote me recently, who's not my student, who's an adult now and actually just had a baby. And
awesome.
And I used to play the Beatles Come Together when we were all meeting for writing workshops. So kids would be like singing it, and they're getting there. They knew what they had to bring, and they'd come and they'd be ready to meet for writing workshop. And it was like, as soon as you heard Come Together, everybody knew what to do and where to go. And by the end of the song, everybody was sitting. So talk about a smooth transition. It was quick and smooth. And it was before the end. We always beat the song. Like, we always finished before the music stopped, and we were ready to go. And then at the end, I would play Hard Day's Night. It's a Hard Day's Night from the Beatles too. So this 23-year-old student, she her mom and I are still friends on Facebook. And so recently, I don't know what I posted, something about the Beatles. And she's like, every time we hear the Beatles, both my kids, because I had both of her kids, both of
Yeah.
my kids are like, they think of me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man. And I'm not that old to have grown up with the Beatles, but I just really, really
Yeah.
love
That's awesome.
yeah, it was just fun and purposeful, and the kids
Yeah.
loved it. It was so you're right. I think that's a great strategy. I love that. And
Yeah,
it's easy to
it
do, and it also
is.
smooths out your transitions.
Hmm.
So
It
yeah.
certainly does. And I can't move on without saying, one of my big things that I love to, just bring up with teachers. I'm going to have actually a workshop in a couple of days, and we're going to be talking about listening to music and sharing music with your
Mhm.
students. And when you can give that little piece of you to your students, like
Yeah.
your love of the Beatles and the fact, I mean, your face is just lighting up right now, right?
Yeah.
So, when you bring that up and you share that with your students, I mean, those are the kind of sneaky ways to make
Yeah.
connections with your students, which is just so important. And it's completely done through an art form of just simply listening to music, which is
Yeah.
so awesome and so powerful too.
It is. I actually had
Mhm.
because once you're a teacher, I feel like you're always a teacher. I've been listening to this. This sounds so opposite of the Beatles, but I've been listening to this rap music, and the
Yep.
artist's name is NF, and he doesn't have any bad words in his music. He's very his mental health is a huge like theme in his
Cool.
music, and I'm like, wow, this would be so powerful for high school, middle school, or high school students. And I'm like trying to learn this one particular song. And so I have the lyrics on my, when you play it on Apple Radio, it
Yeah.
like the lyrics scroll. So I'm like, this is an unbelievable fluency lesson,
Yeah.
because you have to be
Yes.
so fast, and you're like reading ahead so that you can say these words really. And I'm like, for kids that struggle in this area, even when they get older and we don't know what to do with them anymore, we want to treat them like they're in, first grade. I'm like, this would be such a powerful lesson. You could use
Mhm.
like this rap music. And so I don't know. So that's one of my ideas.
Yeah, I love it. Write that down, everybody. I like that one.
And there's no bad words, so you don't have to worry about that. But
Awesome.
yeah, I was yeah. Anyway. All right. So we've got embedded strategies,
Yeah.
and you're teaching methods like in that
Yes.
second wave. Mhm.
Yes. So in the second, we got the embedded strategies. We've got consistent strategies. So these are things that
Mm.
aren't necessarily embedded in your every single day, but they might happen, depending on your schedule. What I love about SEAL is it can be so flexible for teachers because we
Mhm.
all have different schedules. And, I have teachers come in from pre-K through 12 to do this stuff. So it's so adaptable and
Yeah.
modifiable to everybody's teaching situation. But consistent strategies might be once a week, once a month, once a quarter that you
Mhm.
do something. And so the teacher favorite out of these consistent strategies is Friendly Friday. And this came out of talk about, just trying to be able to rein in behaviors.
Mhm.
It came
Mhm.
about for me because Friday afternoons, when you have your students all day, every day, can
Yes.
be kind of tricky.
Mhm. For
And I
sure.
tried so many different things. I tried, free time. I tried reading to them at the end of the Friday. I tried, just giving them coloring pages. Like I tried a bunch of stuff. But then when I did this thing called Friendly Friday, it just clicked. And so what it is giving students an opportunity to create a friendly note or card for another
Mhm.
classmate, but they do it anonymously. So they literally, pick the
Ooh.
popsicle stick
Mhm.
out, kept it a secret, and then I would give them anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how much time I needed at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
Right? And they would get to work. And what it did was it gave the students time to be creative. It gave them audience and purpose, like authentic audience and
Mhm.
purpose. And of course, I soundtracked the time. And the kids were just so intensely working on this thing for another
Yeah.
person. And at the end, I'd collect them, I'd check them and make sure everything was looking
Yes.
good.
Uh-huh.
And then ceremoniously distributed them to them, giving them an opportunity to practice their pleases and thank yous and eye contact,
Yeah.
and then just the that feeling of really getting something special from a classmate.
Mhm.
And that's not necessarily from your friend, it's
Yeah.
from another person in the room. And when you do this consistently, you're really building relationships inside the classroom.
Mhm.
You're building empathy and kindness. And sometimes a student might receive something that seems like, if you're in fourth grade and it seems like it's made by a kindergartner,
Mhm.
you're still showing gratitude for that, and you're
Yes.
still appreciating what that person did and understanding, wow, this is what this kid is capable of.
Yes.
And it just gives that idea of social awareness. And so it's just such a powerful
Yeah.
kind of SEAL strategy to use in the classroom. And then from there, I mean, there's so many different ways to modify it and change it up, because you're not going to do that same exact thing every
Yes.
single week. But we look at so many different ways to just implement some kind of Friendly Friday activity for your students, and it just builds an amazing community inside the
Yeah.
classroom.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I think it makes way for those kind of conversations too,
Mhm.
which we have to have with students about how it feels, like what happens when you get, you draw the stick of someone that you don't isn't your favorite person in the world. And then you get to you before that happens, you're talking about that and how it feels to, you wouldn't want someone to feel badly about that. And like all those conversations that
Yes.
go around that can prevent that kind of behavior from happening. And so I think that is great. And then just practicing the gratitude of like, this is what I received. And you're right, showing empathy into some people having different abilities and different,
Mhm.
skill sets. So I think that I love that. And anytime we can do that, I think it's very, very powerful.
It
So
is.
that's exciting. All
It
right.
is.
So we've got the methods with embedded strategies, consistent strategies. Are we missing anything in that second wave?
Yeah, well, it's the larger SEAL lessons, which kind of brings us right into the third wave, where we look
Okay.
at all the different integrations. So all the SEAL integrations where we integrate the four major art forms of visual art, music, dance, and drama, with all five of the social emotional competencies: the
I love it.
self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. And it's just amazing when you integrate each one of those with each one of those. Right? There's all these different combinations, and what the key is in this wave is that every so often, what you've got to do is just kind of press the pause and
Uh-huh.
make time
Yes.
for these kinds of experiences for your students. And I think that is really what is key to SEAL, is that it's about giving students these experiences in the art forms, being explicit with how it applies to their life and their well-being, and what's making them a better student, a better person, a better friend, and allowing the students to really just kind of sink into that experience. And what I love about just all the different types of combinations that you can put together is that you can look at the class that's in front of you and see what they need, and then kind of pick and choose what kind of
Yeah.
lesson's going to work.
Yeah.
So I've had classes in the past. I had one class a number of years ago that were movers. So we did a lot of movement that
Mhm.
year. And there was one year that a couple of years ago that I had a class that was really struggling and getting along, and just having that social awareness of
Mhm.
what other students needs are, and
Yeah.
how to be accepting and that kind of thing. But they were also very visual. Like, there were a lot of drawers, and it just kind of like spread through the classroom. Everyone wanted to draw like this kid, and everyone wanted to try this. And so I
That's cool.
carefully chose visual art lessons that worked with social awareness, and allowed them time every once in a while I would try to do it because I see, because I'm an elementary teacher, I would
Yes.
try and do it once a month.
Yeah.
Some teachers can try and get it done like once a semester or
Mhm.
once a quarter. So it just builds in that time where you can really dig into some of these competencies that the kids need
Yes.
um, to be able to build on that.
Which I know that many school districts are talking about adding this
Yeah,
into the day, but they're not giving teachers the tools to do it. And the
right.
teachers are like, I don't know how, I don't know, I don't have the materials and so on. So something like SEAL is a great way to answer that problem. And
Yeah.
also, I think we have to remember, you said it, and I think it's so important. Like, okay, maybe we can't get it done every single day, but we have to take those moments and pause. It's like how we feel when we have to get an oil change. Like
Hmm.
if we go along and drive our car to death, the engine is going to explode. Actually, it's
Yes.
going to not work if we don't stop and get an oil change. It's kind of
That's
the
a
same
great
way
analogy. Yeah.
with this. Like if we don't stop and pause and have those moments with our students, it's going to cause problems in all the rest of our teaching. So I
Hmm.
think it's vital to our like community, just like it is an oil change to an engine. It just is
Yeah.
that necessary.
Yeah.
So you don't
And
have
you're
to get an
right
oil
that
change every week, but you do have to do it,
yes,
periodically.
but you do. It's so
Yeah.
true. And you're right that so many schools are seeing the need for this. And I think what some teachers are weary of is that they're being forced to like implement a whole new program. Like
Yeah.
take 30 minutes on a Wednesday and do this lesson and do this lesson and you get these scripted lessons with the
Yes.
posters and it's just not real. And
Yeah.
so when I think about SEAL and when I was designing it for teachers, because it's very teacher centered in terms of you have the autonomy, like you pick, you use the strategies that are going to work with your personality and with the personality of your class and with
Hmm.
what they need.
Hmm.
And I think that that's such an important part of what we do as teachers because I mean, we're the ones that are in front of the kids.
Yes, you're
we
right.
we know what they need,
Yes.
and it might not be lesson 1B of the program. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
You're absolutely
And
right. And you're
so I
putting it back into the hands of the teachers where it actually should be
100%.
because they know their students and they know their classrooms and they have individual and unique needs in every classroom. So telling
Yes.
people that they need to be on the same page at the same time doesn't make any sense. So
No,
I,
not when you're talking about this
yes.
topic, especially,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me in any topic, but I definitely think in this topic because I think you can't differentiate and also have everything standardized. It's like an oxymoron. And so
Yeah.
I'm like I don't understand. What do you want me to prioritize? Because differentiation makes so much more sense to me than everyone must be here at the same time. So as I can walk around, I can see that everyone's doing no, 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 no. Like we're all different. And our class makeup looks totally different. Mine looks different than yours, looks different than the person down the hall. So I love
Mhm.
that you have given them options and that you have given them choices and you can meet like the needs of the different variety of types of students that we have. I love that. Okay, where can
Awesome. Thank
teachers
you.
get more information about this and what you have to offer?
Awesome. Yeah. So on all the social media platforms, I'm the Inspired Classroom. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm Elizabeth Peterson. But if you search for the Inspired Classroom, you'll find me on social media. And then if your listeners are interested in SEAL, go ahead
Mhm.
to teachseal.com. On that page, I've got all kinds of resources. You can see the SEAL courses that are available and just all kinds of great things. There's a free workshop you can sign up for to really learn about how the arts and social emotional learning really go together. So teachseal.com.
Okay.
Yes,
I think they should definitely do that. It sounds amazing.
thank you.
I have
Thank
really,
you.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this because this is so timely and it's so necessary. I thank you for all that you're doing.
Oh, you're so welcome. And Trina, I really have enjoyed talking with you.
I
can
have
see
enjoyed
that
talking with you.
we have some like-mindedness for sure.
Definitely. Yes. I feel like I have met a kindred spirit.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for sticking around. Oh, wasn't that so great? I love it. I love talking about integrating the arts. I think it's so important. And I do also think that makerspace can be one of those ways that we do that. There's so many different areas of creativity that are going on inside of a makerspace or in the thinking of makerspace, types of thinking. It goes right aligned with this type of conversation. So if you are thinking about makerspace, then check out Mastering Makerspace. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.